Welcome to part 3 of my PCT Journey series. Well, let's get started by Agua Dulce, California. So this is Agua Dulce. It's also called the Oasis for hikers. It's put on by Farmer John and his wife, and it provides everything you could really want as a hiker. You can see that it's not the Hilton, but it has just about everything you need. So in this little tent area right here, there's a very, very well stocked resupply. There's a chicken coop, and then just to the right there is laundry, an ice machine, and showers and bathrooms. And this is sort of the front yard of it. And you can kind of set up almost wherever you want. It's pretty inexpensive, and he's a really nice guy and helps us out.
I just stopped for water, and thought it was kind of funny because there's that common expression about drinking out of a fire hose. But this is a fire department that lets us get water, and when you turn that thing on, it comes out with crazy force, and I just thought it was kind of funny. Because I'm kind of literally drinking out of the fire hose in a way. Not really, but you get it. It's hot, but not as unbearable as I thought. And I'm making really good time, so I'm going to keep on keeping on. Well, today marks the 3-week mark since I started, which is amazing because time has flown by. It doesn't feel like that at all. I'm somewhere just shy of the 500-mile mark at this point. I think I'll pass the 500-mile mark today. But one thing that's pretty common out here and has a bit of a reputation is poodle dog bush, which is a skin irritating plant that can cause poison ivy-like symptoms. And in case you're wondering what it looks like, it's all of these purple things. This is a giant field of it right on the trail. So I'm going to act as skinny as I possibly can and do my best not to rub against it. But yeah, yuck. Well, it's the first time the bug net's gone on. I'm not getting bit by the swarming flies, but they've been flying into my eyes so much that my cheeks under my sunglasses are starting to feel raw from trying to wipe them out. So yeah, not unhappy to have the bug net. So yesterday and the day before were the 2 days that there was a heat advisory, but it's still supposed to get up to 90 today. However, I'm very fortunate because right now it's about noon, so definitely in the heat of the day. But I've got this really lovely section right now that has a lot of oak trees. And rather than being out in the middle of the desert and just getting cooked, I get into the shade quite a bit. So I'm very glad that I'm here at this time.
So this is the famous hiker town, which is a sort of hostel-like thing right before the Aqueduct section of the PCT. If there's one single place I recommend you mailing yourself a resupply, it's here.
It's about 3:15 in the morning, day 22. I got up around 2:15, so this is my alpine start, which is a different version than the popular night hike for the Aqueduct section. I stayed at Hiker Town. I kind of knocked myself out with some sleeping drugs around 7. I slept till 2. And it's an interesting place, to say the least. The outdoor shower I took with probably like a dozen different bees because they're all trying to get water. But I had a package there, got that no problem, and then hung out with a bunch of other hikers during the afternoon. I did 32 miles into there, so I didn't feel like going back out with them for the night. So, and anyway, it's time to get this section started and enjoy the high 50s and enjoy the stars because they're the best I've seen so far. The moon's very low and it's not up yet, so the stars are so far the best part about this very early morning. Well, the sun's just cresting over that hill, and it's about 10 of 6. There's a nice breeze. Clearly I haven't been in the sun until now, so it's been pretty pleasant. It's just a lot of long flat.
The Aqueduct section has a reputation for being really hot and really exposed, so many people, including myself, chose to do it at either night or a really, really early start. You might guess because there are so many hundreds, if not thousands, of windmills that this area is consistently very windy, and that's definitely true. And there was a comment in Far Out that made me laugh where somebody said, "It sure would be a lot less windy if they shut all of these fans off." what a waste of electricity. And this guy right here, this is a bivvy, like you sleep in a sleeping bag. And I'll show it in a still frame in a second. But take a look at that. It's inflated like a balloon because he put his head into the wind. Here I am in downtown Tehachapi. While I was waiting for the bus, a nice person that lived nearby saw me and pulled over and gave me a ride in and brought me to this bakery, which had an incredible display case full of pastries and stuff. So now I'm walking to the Walmart to resupply, and then I have to find my way down to Barbara's Hiker Hut, which is a couple miles south of here. So I'll be doing some walking around town, but that's kind of the point of this trip, right? It's the walking part, so I'm not going to complain. It's a beautiful day. So this was definitely in the top 2 best bakeries of the PCT. This one's called Conan's, and it's in Tehachapi, and it's a German-style bakery, and I love bakeries. And this is the Hiker Hut in Tehachapi, which was a great hostel. So Barbara and her husband Richard are the 2 hosts, and this used to be an apple orchard, and this would be their refrigerated area that they would store and pack all their apples, and they've converted it into a hostel for hikers and do it donation only. They're super sweet, and they're very, very nice people, and I had a wonderful time here. So here's me out front. She likes to take a picture of everybody that stays with her and put them in a big scrapbook kind of yearbook thing. And then one last morning at Conan's before getting back out on the trail. Well, good morning. It's my 24th day on trail. I'm back in Cameron Road, which is the Highway 58 overpass. Just came out of Tehachapi, and what a great little trail town it is. It has a lot of charm, and there's some amazing people. My only critique, and it's of course not the town's fault, it's just how spread out it is. So I really, really enjoyed Conan's Bakery. It's a German bakery in town with amazing pastries. I had breakfast there today and yesterday. And I stayed at Barbara's Hiker Hut, which she's just the sweetest. So that was amazing. And then also, I just got a ride back from a trail angel named Fran, and I offered to buy her breakfast or a coffee or something and gas money, but she politely refused. So a huge thank you to her too. This next section is a couple miles. Well, it's a kind of a milestone because the popular guidebook that we all use out here, guide app I should say, is broken up into different sections. So this is the official endpoint of the first Southern California map, and it's the very first icon, right where I'm standing, of the Sierra map. So Fran was just telling me actually too that all of these windmills on this side is part of the, I don't remember what she said, different, like a Tehachapi range or something like that. And she was telling me that everything on this side is actually considered the very Southern Sierras, which would make sense why the map splits here. So I had no idea of that, and I'm going to take her word for it because she's a local. But this section so far looks pretty dry. There's a water cache here, but I left town all filled up. And really there's only going to be 1 or 2 water sources the entire day today, so I'm going to have to make sure I drink a lot, but also I'm carrying a lot. I experienced very little wildlife on the PCT, but this gray fox was a really cool thing to see. And as you can see, right around mile 600, so just north of Tehachapi. So I just finished, or at least hopefully finished, a really big climb up from another water cache, which is another huge important one because this area is so dry. But figured while I was up high I could show you what the Mojave section kind of looks like. So up high, I'm at 7,000 feet now. There are still trees and stuff, but most of the morning and almost all of yesterday was closer to 5,000 feet and there was almost no trees. So this is what I would consider the first view of what's probably the Southern Sierras. So hopefully you can see that there's still a wee bit of snow up on top of some of those bigger ones, and they look very far away. So I think that's my first glimpses of what's coming up. This was just an awesome cloud. The sky looked really ominous, but it never ended up raining. And here we go, rattlesnake number 5, right in the middle of the trail. Pretty good size one too. I recorded this within the first few seconds of getting to Kennedy Meadows South, which is the beginning of the Sierra Mountain Range section. And this is where most people have to start carrying a bear canister and will switch to their winter gear. And it was so busy, I decided just to get the heck out of there and get back out on the trail. And I did that. So behind me you can see the Kennedy Meadows South General Store. And so I was originally planning on spending the night there, because you can camp for free, and there's showers and laundry and a restaurant-y thing, like a fast food, like window service kind of fast food thing, and all that kind of stuff. But when I got there, it was crazy busy. There has to be a minimum of 50 or 60 other hikers there, with more people coming in all the time. So it's a bit of a vortex, which is where hikers find a spot that's comfortable and they decided to take a day off, and then maybe they really enjoyed their day off, so they take another one. So some of those folks have been there for a couple days, others like me just got in. But I expect it to be a pretty loud night there. They sell beer and there's a lot of people, so I did all my important stuff. So I have a different pack now. So I switched over to my Superior Wilderness Designs Ultra Long Haul 50. So it's a framed pack. I bought a bear can. I freighted it full of food, so I have 5 days of food. It's probably too much, but I don't really know what to expect. I've got my micro spikes and my whippet, which is like a self-arresting tool, kind of like an ice axe. And then mailed all my other stuff home. So I got all my important things done. I did charge my electronics. But really, I'm only 2 days out of Ridgecrest. So I did my laundry and showered the day before yesterday, so I don't really feel like I need to glamp right now. So walking the 3/4 of the mile back down to the trail. It is Friday on Father's Day weekend, so I think there's even more people there that aren't hikers. They're just campers, because it's a general store. So there might be a lot of other people out camping for the night at the local campgrounds. So I will see what I find. I'm going to try to find a nice little quiet spot and enjoy myself. And I'm super excited to get to the Sierras, but at the same time, that was a little bit not what I was hoping to find, although admittedly is kind of what I was expecting to find. Camp's all set up for the first night in the Sierras. So that bridge right over there crosses the brook that you can no doubt hear. So this is the Kennedy Meadows Bridge. And then I have a lovely little campsite. Water's raging on the other side. But pretty flat tent spot. You can see the water down there. And a fire ring, and then there's another decent spot for a small tent, kind of straight ahead. But this is much, much more of the evening that I want to have for my first night in the Sierras, rather than surrounded by 50 plus other hikers drinking beers and being loud. I just had my permit checked officially for the second time, which I don't mind at all. I like that it keeps people honest out here. But this is a beautiful meadow, a little bit of snow-capped mountain over there. It's amazing how quickly it goes from being the desert section to the Sierra. It really is like a light switch. So it's getting awfully pretty up here. That meadow down there with the sort of sandy lines, those are low stream beds that I'm sure raging when all the snow is melting. But the air is thinner up here for sure. I'm at just shy of 10,400 feet, and I'm not very acclimated, so I'm huffing and puffing a little bit more than I was the last bit of this trail, but that's to be expected. But anyway, it's gorgeous. I just got to the top of my climb, and there's a teeny patch of snow up there. That's the first I've seen in a long, long time, since probably Wrightwood. But now I'm getting a view in the other direction, and you can see that there's some, but not a ton of snow up there still. It didn't take long at all as you're climbing up out of the desert area into the Sierras for the scenery just to really change. There was marmots and trees and views. It was amazing. This is Chicken Spring Lake.
So here we are. It's about almost 5 o'clock, and I am all set up. It was about a 26-mile day today. Got here later than I thought I would, even with my later than planned start. But anyway, really pretty meadow. And today, or tonight I should say, is basically all prepped for attempting Mount Whitney. So I've already taken a couple sleep aids since it's not going to get dark for another 4 hours. And my plan is to get up around, I don't know, midnight, eat a really light breakfast, and leave everything set up. I already have my pack packed up with layers and stuff. So kind of just get out and go with headlamp. And if I can time it right, I'm hoping to get up there for sunrise. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be sure to take lots of pictures and videos as long as it's light enough. Well, I doubt anything's going to show up because cameras are getting good, but not that good. But anyway, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. I left at 12:45. Probably won't be able to see any of this, but I'm in a beautiful rocky valley and working my way towards Whitney.
I'm extremely glad I decided to go for this challenge because in hindsight, it was one of the highest moments of my trip, both quite literally and metaphorically. It was just incredible. I was really proud of myself, super glad that I did it, and that's the new highest I've ever been above sea level anywhere that's not in a plane. I've gotten down most of the steep stuff, but I wanted to do a 360 of this little valley here. And it's really windy, so I'm not going to talk while I pan because you won't be able to hear me anyway. Well, I'm successfully back from my very early morning summit of Mount Whitney. It was awesome. Really, really cool trail, lots of catwalks, and an epic sunrise. So I just took my sweet time when I got back to lay out all my sweaty layers that I needed to get some sun on those. Made another coffee, deep cleaned all of my things like my toothbrush and my pot and mouth guard and stuff like that. Kind of just like to relax. And so now it's already almost 9:40, so it'd be a super late start to a normal day, but I've already been up for basically 9 hours. So I'm not going to go crazy today. If I can just kind of keep a mellow pace and stop at some point as it gets closer to dark, if I have enough gas in the tank for that, then that's the plan. So this is home for last night. And then there's a toilet over there because this is part of the John Muir Trail, so it gets a lot of extra use. But there had to have been over 20 tents here last night, so pretty wild. There really hadn't been any significant snow at all on the trail until after the junction where the Mount Whitney spur kind of goes off to, but there was some snow for real starting this point and for quite a bit of the rest of the Sierras up Forester Pass.
So I'm almost at the top of Forester Pass, and it gets a little steep. It's a lot of fun because the snow is melted, but I wouldn't want to do this in the snow. Hopefully you can see those switchbacks that are like built up on cobbles. I think it finishes right in that notch, but check out this view. So I didn't know until I just looked at my location
on the guide. But Forester Pass at 13,200 feet is the highest pass on the Pacific Crest Trail. So, yay me. I just did the highest pass without even knowing it. And, not to brag or anything, but I also did Whitney this morning. So I've been up since 12:15 this morning, just after midnight. And I still had enough energy for it. So we're going to see how this snow is. Looks like people are doing just fine with it.
The snow added to so much of the natural beauty of the Sierras, and I think I hit it at the perfect time this year because it was warm and comfortable enough, but there was still a lot of snow up high, so it was beautiful. Thanks so much for watching part 3, and part 4 is going to pick up right here where we left off, and we're going to go through the rest of the Sierras, and it's going to be gorgeous. Stay tuned.